You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WGBW Daily News Roundup for the Talk of Green Bay, 97.9 FM and 1590 AM.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. A community that once spearheaded the movement to protect bees emerging from hibernation in the spring is rolling things back just a bit. Appleton, which pioneered the No Mow May movement, is now saying slow-mo summer is the way to go. Appleton is a Bee USA city partner and encourages residents to raise their lawn mowers to 4 inches and mow when their lawns reach 6 inches tall. It also encourages mowing later in the afternoon when pollinators are less active. If you're gearing up to do a little work in the yard, remember to do it safely. Melissa Kay has more.
Spring weather brings the opportunity to complete outdoor projects. Remember to keep safety in mind as you tackle those jobs. We Energies reminds customers to call before you dig. The number for Diggers Hotline is 811, or you can find them online at diggershotline.com. You need to give them at least 3 business days' notice before starting any digging project. Be aware of overhead power lines when you're using ladders. Don't trim trees near power lines and avoid all contact. Make sure to follow utility equipment guidelines when you're planting, doing landscaping, or adding yard structures. You can find those guidelines at we-energies.com.
Cuts to Medicaid could eliminate coverage for 50,000 Wisconsinites and increase costs for everybody who sees a doctor. Savannah Tomei Olson breaks it down.
Republicans in Congress have passed a resolution to reduce the energy and commerce budget by $880 billion. They're doing that so they can extend President Donald Trump's tax cuts. But most of that money would come from slashing Medicaid. The DHS says Wisconsin would lose about $6.5 billion. That would mean 52,000 Wisconsinites would lose coverage, and the state would have at least an extra $160 million in costs. Wisconsin Medicaid Director Bill Hanna.
Loss of federal funding means the state really has 4 options. 1, the state needs to find more state dollars. The other options are we change who's eligible for Medicaid, so fewer people are eligible, which means the uninsured rate will likely go up. Uninsured rates going up means more uncompensated care in our healthcare infrastructure, in hospitals and other providers. The other option is we can cover fewer services. Eliminating optional services often means we end up spending more. And the third option is just cutting provider rates because we have fewer dollars.
And Hannah says that won't just impact the people who rely on Medicaid. If more people are uninsured and can't pay for care when they need it, that means hospitals aren't getting the money for the services they're providing, and costs could go up for everybody. Here in Wisconsin, Medicaid covers 1 in 5 people, 60% of people in nursing homes, and 1 in 3 children. For Civic Media News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson.
Wisconsin lawmakers are looking to increase penalties for sextortion convictions. Joanne Krulatz has that story.
At the Capitol, lawmakers are considering Braden's Law, increasing penalties for sextortion, especially if it leads to suicide. The fast-growing cybercrime targets children to send explicit images and extorts them for money or more content. The bill is named after Braden Bone. The Wausau area 15-year-old died by suicide in March after being victimized by a cyber criminal. The bill was the subject of an emotional public hearing last week before the Assembly Committee on Criminal Justice and Public Safety. Braden's mom, Brittany Bird, said her son was targeted by organized crime and that there needs to be a consequence that at least makes cyber criminals think twice about it.
The police came and they looked in the space where he was, and he had left a note. And his note said, "Make sure he gets caught. I'm so sorry. Everything's on my phone." So my son knew what was happening, and he was so afraid. There was no way out.
The bill would make sextortion perpetrators eligible for felony murder charges if their actions result in a victim's suicide. It has bipartisan support and the backing of Attorney General Josh Kaul. I'm Joanne Krulotz.
The crime was over 10 years ago, but memories of a Waukesha attack involving then teenage girls keep coming back. Stuart J. Waddles has more from southeastern Wisconsin.
The release of one of the girls in the Slender Man stabbing has been postponed after the proposed group home location was found to be just 8 miles from her victim's home. The victim's mother told the court this week that her daughter fears encountering Morgan Geyser, who stabbed her 19 times in 2014 to appease the fictional Slender Man character. Geyser's revised release plan must be submitted within 30 days with a hearing set for June.
Meanwhile, Michael Bowren, the judge overseeing the proceedings in this case for more than a decade, retired Wednesday. The judge now assigned to the case is Waukesha Circuit Court Judge Scott Wagner. Barlow Planetarium on the UW-Oshkosh Fox Cities campus is hosting several events tomorrow for National Astronomy Day. The events from noon till 9:30 include a look at the portable planetarium, telescope displays and presentations, and, of course, astronomy shows. Admission for the Astronomy Day shows is $7 per person. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
Brewer baseball tonight. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. It should be a packed house tonight when the Brewers host the Chicago Cubs at AmFam Field in Milwaukee. Game 1 of a 3-game weekend series. Right-hander Ben Brown on the mound tonight for Chicago against the Brewers' Quinn Priester. Good news on the return of Brandon Woodruff, who pitched 5 2/3 innings for the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, allowing just 1 run on 3 hits as he comes back from that shoulder surgery.
Feel pretty good. Each and every outing has been a little different in terms of the way the body feels, but it feels great. Shoulder felt good. Now it's just more about, as I'm getting into these outings after a year and a half, I think this is my 4th one. It's all about getting the delivery in place and just trying to execute pitches.
NFL, the Packers beginning their 3-day rookie minicamp today in Green Bay. In Madison, a launch for the Wisconsin Badgers women's volleyball team. Sophomore Lola Schumacher deciding to enter the transfer portal. She's one of their best players. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Martin Scorsese has yet another new project in the pipeline. Scorsese is producing a feature-length documentary about Pope Francis's education project, which was founded by the Pope and was picking up steam right before he passed away. The Pope's final interview will also be part of the film and was shot exclusively for the project. The film is called Aldius, A New Story. There is no release date just yet. Director Ryan Coogler wants to reboot The X-Files, and he's got a big backer. Not that he needs one. The director seems to have the Midas touch, as all his films are profitable, including Creed, The Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and now Sinners, which is a monster hit. Pun intended. He is talking about bringing The X-Files back and has an original cast member in Gillian Anderson excited about the idea. She has not committed yet, but is a big fan of Coogler and says she is open to it, which is basically a yes. Heist film fans, take note. Chris Hemsworth and Halle Berry star in the new film Crime 101, and the response has been good enough to land not just a theatrical release, but one in a primo holiday weekend slot. The film will open February 13th on the coveted President's Day, Valentine's Day weekend, according to Amazon Prime and MGM Studios. The story follows a detective trying to stop a string of jewel heists. The film also stars Mark Ruffalo, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Barry Keoghan, and Nick Nolte. Love a good heist film. So what do you do after you've had a chart-topping lesbian country music hit? If you're Chappell Roan, you become an actress. TheWrap.com reports that the singer recently met with her idol, director John Waters. The two hit it off as Waters suggested the possibility. When Roan said, "I'm not an actress, I'm a singer," Waters replied, "Every singer is an actress." Roan's response, "If John Waters says I'm an actress, maybe I am. Maybe she is." You don't often hear of a big 41st anniversary celebration, but in the case of the film This Is Spinal Tap, it is very warranted. Why, might you ask, is the number 41 a big deal? Because a long-awaited sequel, Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, will be released in September. With that in mind, it seems like the perfect time to re-release the original that tells the story of the loudest band in England embarking on a catastrophic American tour. This Is Spinal Tap is the brainchild of an incredibly talented foursome, which includes Christopher Guest, Michael McKeon, Harry Shearer, and Rob Reiner. All 4 men wrote the script and are part of the cast. Reiner directs. Ditto for the sequel, as they reprise the same roles with Reiner at the helm again. The remastered original will be available July 7th in various theaters, and the sequel drops September 12th. The amps in the original went up to 11. We'll just have to find out if they are even louder in the sequel. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
It is going to be mostly cloudy with scattered off-and-on showers likely today. Cool, too, with a high in the low 50s. The wind will be northeast at 5 to 15. Tonight, a few showers early, then just cloudy, low dropping into the mid-30s. Tomorrow, sunny, better, warmer, upper 50s on Sunday. Sunshine with a high in the low to mid-60s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Outside now, it's 46.
That's your WGBW Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WGBW.FM. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.